Star Wars Battlefront 1, a phenomenal game, in fact, my second favorite video game ever made, but I feel that Star Wars Battlefront 2 has completely overshadowed it in the Star Wars gaming community. When people say, bring back the old Battlefront, 99% of the time, they're talking about Battlefront 2. The title of this video has most likely given this away by now, but I love Battlefront 1, and consider it to be much better than Battlefront 2. You may be saying, how can this be, as both are very similar, save for the campaign and the Galactic Conquest being much better in Battlefront 2. This is obviously an uphill battle. The general consensus is that Battlefront 2 is a better game, so I'm here to prove my points and hopefully show you why I think Battlefront 1 is better. Just a quick note, I think that both are great games, so no hard feelings towards anyone. Just to start off, I'm talking about and reviewing these two titles as they were first released. This means Battlefront 2 doesn't get any of its many mods and the 4K 60 FPS remake and whatnot. This would obviously be unfair, as Battlefront 1 never saw as many mods as Battlefront 2 did. Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 both share many maps, Endor, Hoth, most obviously, just to name a few. But besides the shared ones, Battlefront 1 has many more incredible and classic maps than Battlefront 2 does, such as Cloud City, Kashyyyk Docks, Bespin Platforms, Dune Sea, and both Renvar maps. Each feels very unique, and they're all non-linear and support many playstyles and strategies. For example, take the best map in the game, Bespin Platforms. You can fly ships and dogfight, or fly to enemy posts as a pilot, shoot down ships in a turret as any class you like, push the front lines as a special or rifle class, defend command posts that are attacked as a heavy class, camp on top of the tunnels, that big ring, and snipe enemies as a sniper, or just fly around with a friend and mess around. One of the great things about the maps in both games is that they're fun to mess around with friends, whether that be trying to kill them with ships or crashing into them with full speed with a speeder bike. The maps also vary a lot. There are no maps in Battlefront 1 that seem like a reskin of another map in the same game. As I said before, the maps in Battlefront 1 support many playstyles. Sniping is supported in almost every map depending on your position, and being a pilot is always supported. In Battlefront 2, the maps are decent, but not nearly as good as in Battlefront 1. For example, the Death Star, one of the best maps in Battlefront 2, is a fun and perfect way to make a close quarters map. But Tantive IV is also very similar. It's easy to get lost in, like the Death Star, but has nothing unique or different about it. Renvar Citadel is also a map that can be very confusing just because of its many tunnels and passageways. There are many ledges and sniping locations that I am still finding today. Renvar is also cooler aesthetically. A ruined, snowy city is much more interesting than the stereotypical sci-fi hallways that always seem to creep into every shooter. The maps in Battlefront 2 only seem to support the rifle class of troops. I rarely feel the need to play as anyone besides them, and even if I do, I can just change class at a command post and then change back. The command post feature of Battlefront 2 bugs me, because in Battlefront 1, you are encouraged to play as classes you aren't as comfortable with to complete objectives. For example, I'm terrible as the heavy class, but I need to use them to kill ATSTs and AT-ATs. Once they are dead, I can't switch until I die, and it forces me to play as a class I'm not as skilled at. I like this choice in Battlefront 1. It adds variety as I need to learn many different weapons and playstyles. In Battlefront 2, you can capture a post that needs specialist class help and switch right back into a rifle trooper again. Additionally, in Battlefront 2, there aren't starfighters very many maps besides Hoth. Tanks and walkers are fun, but aren't nearly as fun as flying around in a TIE Fighter, or Tatooine, or Geonosis and Starfighter Geonosis. Speaking of Geonosis, why does Battlefront 2 not have gunships in Geonosis? The gunships are arguably the most fun ship to fly with friends, as it has many different positions, and one of the best things to do with it is pilot full of buddies, fly over the battlefield, and then skydive down onto unsuspecting droids. Battlefront 2 has none of these starfighters on any map besides space battles, and while they can be fun, they do lack variety. Bespin Platforms, you can land anywhere you want, whether it be at one of the enemy's posts or the high ground for sniping. Battlefront 2, you can land into the enemy ship, and that's all. Both have turrets, both have ships, but platforms is much more interesting. You can weave in and out of platforms and walkways. I prefer to fly over terrain instead of flying through empty space save for a few asteroids and command ships. In platforms, fighting takes place on the ground as well as in the skies, and the battlefield is extensive, instead of just a few rooms. Bespin isn't the only map with starfighters. Dune Sea, Kashyyyk Islands, Hoth, and Geonosis all have ships. Both games have tanks and walkers, but Battlefront 1 makes ships just so much more enjoyable. I just want to clarify before I begin my next point. I know that graphics do not make a game good. I mean, just look at the new EA games that have soiled the good name of Battlefront. Battlefront 2 improved the graphics in certain ways, but also makes many mistakes when it comes to textures and lighting. As you can see, the graphics look pretty similar. Battlefront 2 has a darker lighting and a serious texture downgrade, especially in natural environment areas. I can make out There's an Ewok here in Battlefront 1, but not really in Battlefront 2. The textures are just too similar, and it is too dark. The added fog makes seeing troops impossible unless they're already upon you. Darker droid textures even look similar to the environment in Kashyyyk. Battlefront 1 has some of these problems as well, but they don't ruin some maps like they do in Battlefront 2. But you may also be thinking, how about the heroes? I think the heroes in Battlefront 2 are fun to play as, but don't make the game much better. Quite frankly, I'd rather play as a normal infantry class than a hero after already playing as one once in a map. Now on the nitpicky stuff. These things don't necessarily make Battlefront 2 worse on their own, but contribute in my opinion in the end. The screen is split the wrong direction. You're supposed to split it like that. The guns are on different reticles. This was such a nice touch in Battlefront 1 to have different target reticles, I think. Oh, also, the characters look a bit bigger in Battlefront 1. I don't know why, I like that. Also, the designs of the characters are cooler in Battlefront 1. I like how all the clones look the same, save for armor color and other additions, like shoulder pads and a bullet skirt. In Battlefront 2, they look like rebels, so dissimilar. Like, they aren't even part of the same army. And one last thing, which I probably should have covered at the beginning of the video, but the main screen for Battlefront 1 is so much cooler than Battlefront 2. It's custom animated, it looks really cool, it's original. Battlefront 2 just shows clips from Star Wars. If I wanted to watch Star Wars, I'd put it in the DVD player. Well, I've covered all my points, and that just about wraps up why Battlefront 1 is better than Battlefront 2. And I understand that many people like Battlefront 2 more. Let's keep the comments civil and respect my opinion. I'll be sure to respect yours as well. Now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.